The Prime Minister sharing his thoughts with officials who are engaged in the task of the construction of a Bhavya Ram temple at Ayodhya. The Prime Minister inspecting the site where the Garbh would be, the sanctum sanctorum of the temple. This is where Ram Lala's statue would be. This is the place where Sri Ram was born, and this has been our belief for centuries, that this is where Sri Ram was born. And Hindus have continuously prayed at this place, and this is where the temple is coming up. But the temple complex, of course, is much larger. The ground floor is where Ram Lala's temple would be, but the first floor of this grand temple complex will also have the Sri Ram Darbar. The Prime Minister, after inspecting, and you can just look at the scale, the size of the temple that's coming up. Initially what was envisaged was a smaller temple, and you can just get an idea, 160 odd pillars were initially planned, but that's now more than 360 pillars now coming up. A much bigger temple with multiple domes, and the main shikhar is where the temple, the Garbh would be. But apart from the Garbh, there are other temples and other complexes where people can do their parikrama of the temple, people where they can sit and meditate, in a separate place where people can chant shloks and bhajans and sing bhajans and chant mantras. So all of that has been thought of and envisaged in this spectacular temple that is currently under construction. And the timelines, Pooja, if I can quickly bring you in once again, the timelines are also being squeezed. No drop in quality, but ensure that the work happens as per a given timeline, despite massive rains and flooding of parts of Ayodhya this time, Pooja.
Next 1 year, very crucial, Gaurav, because that's where the temple construction is expected to be near completion. And Gaurav, if I may add here, you've given us a virtual tour, I remember, of the Ram temple. You know, you may just have to, by next year, be giving us an inside view of the real temple as it would be constructing. We won't need a 3D, we won't need imagination. And today was one step to that the development has taken place. But look at the manner in which Narendra Modi is progressing. While we look at these visuals, and he's starting to light the first diya, he's starting to interact, he's starting to inspect. He didn't just come, pay darshan to the Ram Lala and walk off and come to the celebration. He's there for business. He wants to know how much temple progress has taken place. It's been over 500 years. The manner in which the Ram temple has been in discussion, hundreds of years of a fight on the streets, and then recently in the modern era in the court. And it's been a long battle for those who try to, as democratically as possible, in a country like India, to be able to fight that case. The case has been pending for so many years, and finally it managed to get a verdict from the court, and ever since the construction of the temple has started. So for generations who are watching this temple built, especially in Ayodhya, they are born and brought up on stories of how they could not have their own Ram temple, despite this being a birthplace of Lord Ram.
Pooja, stay with me for a moment. After praying at the Sri Ram temple, at the Ram Lala temple, the Prime Minister also praying where the sanctum sanctorum of the new temple is coming up. He's prayed there. He's lit a lamp, which is what our culture is all about. From darkness unto light. Astoma Sadgamaya, from untruth to truth. Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya, from tamas or darkness to Jyoti, to light. Astoma Sadgamaya, Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya, from death to Amratva, which is what the prayer is all about. The Prime Minister once again lit a lamp. And I want to quickly bring in my colleague Aishwarya Paliwal. Aishwarya, the lighting of these 17 lakh plus lamps is symbolic of moving from darkness unto light, from agyanta to ज्ञान का
प्रधानमंत्री
प्रकाश.
नरेंद्र मोदी जब राष्ट्र निर्माण की कामना करते हैं तो वो समूचे राष्ट्र का आह्वान करते हैं.
Well, Gaurav, we are seeing, and most of the things that Prime Minister Narendra Modi does, it has a lot of significance. The very fact that when he went and he inaugurated the corridor, the Kashi corridor, he walked all the way till the Ganges and took a dip thrice. So those were things that were simple, and Prime Minister wants to show the country and also the world that if I can do it, then everyone else can do it. And it also shows, how closely he follows the Indian culture, and that is what he perhaps wants to bring to the world also. We'll just pan and show you. You see those people there, Gaurav, they are all the volunteers who are now ready with candles in their hands. They are now waiting for the Prime Minister to reach. All the ghats are now filled with the volunteers. Volunteers on my ghat as well, where I am standing, they all have the candle in the hand. All these will be used to light the lamps in just a couple of hours from now. They are all now keeping a very close eye on what the Prime Minister is doing. Prime Minister praying at the Ram temple, also going around and inspecting the work, keenly tells us how important it is for the Prime Minister to make sure that the work is going on time. He is personally taking a lot of interest in it, and once he reaches the ghats and he lights the 5 lamps, after that, all these lamps that you see around me, the volunteers that you see behind me, all of them will get down to work and the lighting of the 17 lamps will begin. Gaurav.
Oh, absolutely. And these children who are there with you, the volunteers who are there with you, all school children, what has your conversation with them been like about having the privilege to light these lamps, and a number of different kinds of lamps, all earthen lamps, so all giving some kind of, revenue to the locals who made these lamps, to oil that we are told was procured locally, and we are told it's not just mitti ke diye, there is also kande ke diye or gobar ke diye with desi ghee that are being lit up at various temples. Is that true, Aishwarya?
It is true, Gaurav, and go local has been Prime Minister Narendra Modi's motto ever since he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and he's been pushing for that since 2014. And what we are seeing now, we all understand that most of the people have now switched on to the Chinese lights, but when you see the 17 lakh diyas, Gaurav, you and I can imagine how beautiful it will look. It will be spectacular. And that is the image that the Prime Minister wants to give out, the Shining India image. And that is what even we are seeing now. Let me give you a small trivia, Gaurav. Out of the 17 lakh riyals, 80 lakh have been procured from the people of Ayodhya. So it is a big boost to the economy locally, and also go local, the big motto of almost all the state governments, UP government especially, and especially of the Prime Minister. All the things that are being used, the bati that you use is cotton, Indian cotton, the lamps that you are using, the oil that you are seeing, everything is made in India, used in India, and big push for going local is what the Prime Minister is now trying to send out a message. And now all eyes are on the Prime Minister to visit the ghat, light the 5 lamps, and then he'll also take part at the aarti. And we have seen how Prime Minister actually enjoys these things. It's not something that he does only as a photo op. He's actually, even when he's praying, you can hear him muttering. So one can understand how clearly he's connected with those things. Gaurav, if you can hear, the volunteers are now chanting. Jai Shri Ram is what these volunteers, these young kids are chanting. So clearly telling you how connected they are with the Indian culture. And in just almost an hour from now, Gaurav, all of them will start lighting up all the diyas that you see here. The oil has been filled, the batis have been dipped in oil. The chanting has already begun. They are now waiting for the Prime Minister to reach the ghat.